Hi, I'm Malcolm Stern, and in conjunction with my friends John and Sandra Wilson from Online Events, we're creating a series of podcasts called Slay Your Dragons with Compassion. My book of the same name was conceived and inspired by the suicide of my daughter Melissa and the journey that took me on and the internal resources that I found. All of my guests will have a story to tell around overcoming and ultimately thriving through adversity. Special thanks to the band Stairway, Jim McCarty and Louis Chinamo, for the use of theme music from their album Medicine Dance, and my engineer Owen Santiago. I hope you enjoy this series, and thanks for listening. So welcome to my podcast, Slay Your Dragons with Compassion, which I'm doing in conjunction with my very good friends John and Sandra Wilson at Online Events. I have a range of guests coming through this podcast, and we have everything from the weird, the wild, the wonderful, and basically how people's lives have been affected by adversity and how it's helped shape them into who they are. So I'm very, very excited to welcome today's guest, Aminata, who is basically described herself as a soul hacker, working with soul archaeology, and has a very strong shamanic background. And perhaps we can unwrap a little bit of that, Aminata, and just see where we go with that. So, welcome, lovely to see you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And how has adversity led you to be doing what you're doing now?
Okay, I would love to say that in an image, if you don't mind.
Of
Okay,
course.
it's because I love to talk through images. Like it's the language of the soul, isn't it? So, few years ago, I lost my voice. I was a singer. I was an international singer. A songwriter. I worked with Massive Attack. I've worked with Greg Armstrong. I've recorded. Living large. Okay, personal drivers, and personal everything personal. So I lost my voice. I had a thyroid surgery, and I had to do surgery. And then after this surgery, I lost completely my voice. I was speaking like a robot, like this. So that was really, why me? Why me? Why me? Humble, compassionate. Why me? I pick up my drum, my shamanic drum, beat it like a fire. Why me? I saw myself in the forest. There was a warrior coming towards me. And I raised my hand. There was another man behind the warrior, with which I was in complicity. Because I had to distract the warrior. So while he was walking towards me, I raised my hand. Hey, hey, hey. He looked at me. In that instant, a arrow struck back from his behind him, straight from his from his neck to the throat. Exactly the same place that I had lost my voice. I felt that I had silence. This always moved me. I had silenced the voice of justice. Not physically, but I was complicity. I don't know how you say that in English. And the warrior in the vision was a brave warrior was respected by his whole village. And I had silenced the voice of justice. So from that moment on, in the same vision, After this scene, I find myself in the cave with 3 shamans. I was the third. We didn't say a word, but I knew there was something powerful there. And from that day, Ning meditation was born because my grandfather was a great shaman. I start remembering everything he was saying to me when I was a little child, when I was 6, 7, all his words it's like pouring through me. So I start writing, like writing, like I was always possessed by these memories, and I say, to explain this in the image it was like a river, that breaks the banks of memory, so I start writing, and I published my first novel, of course, with the story of my grandfather, all these, and they become bestseller. So I lost my singing voice, but my path was different. I mean, not different. Now I sing, I use my voice to welcome a soul home, to be a soul hacker, to set the table for my shadow selves, and also the shadow selves of my clients, of my students, because we work with each shadow. That's what my grandfather teaches me. Each shadow has his name, his age, and his story. Each of them, you have to know each of them, the story of each of them.
So you've been
So
on a very wild journey from the sound of it, and so you've started life in a very spiritual environment with your grandfather, as you say, as a
yeah,
great shaman,
yeah,
and you've had to go through being molded by life. So here's this
exactly,
woman with a wonderful voice, who's played with Massive Attack, who are one of my favorite bands,
exactly.
and but actually you've also found another way of expressing yourself. So it feels like
Yeah.
your journey is still unraveling and leading you in different directions as well.
It's not different direction. It's just now the healing is passing through me, not towards me anymore.
Right.
Okay.
So you're no longer in the way of the healing. So that's
Exactly. Because now it's like I have to not only know my story, know also all the invisible loyalties that I was hostage of. Invisible loyalties, transgenerational repetitions, everything that was, because I mean, some of them I don't know yet, but many of them I have recognized, I've worked on it, how transgenerational repetition can keep us hostage.
yes. And so this is a bit like the Western thing of man, know thyself. It feels like this is woman, know thyself, and then you are no longer at the mercy of forces around you. You start to
Exactly.
control them.
Exactly. And I refuse magic. When I say magic, I refuse um, superstitions magic. No, everything I'm saying now, I have experiences in my bones and in my flesh. I've experienced it. I have experienced when a personality who is always running, need to run, doesn't want to be stable, not doesn't want to be, she's scared, she is scared to be stable. When she arises, I can feel it in my body. I can feel it. I'm more thirsty, for example, because when you're around, your body is on fire, right? And
Correct.
so yeah, so other personalities as well. there was a one who always, who was, when I say was, because I have worked with her, I know her story, you know. There's another one who loved to humiliate man.
Yeah. And so now your journey is very much about educating others and also about following the path that you're treading. So well, you've created something called Ning meditation. And
Yes.
perhaps you can tell us a bit about what the essence of that is.
The essence of Ning, Ning mean cocoon, a cocoon, because every negative emotions we experience, it creates around our aura, sort of aura, layers after layers, it keeps us there in that cocoon, without without energy or will or whatever to blossom, to so Ning, we need to go out of Ning. So Ning is mean cocoon. The essence of Ning is the shadow work. The shadow work, transgenerational repetitions, invisible loyalties. Because here in Ning, the shadow is not only a concept, the shadow has a pulse. The shadow is not not a definition, has a pulse, not a definition. So that's why I was using the expression earlier, set the table. I physically set the table for my, physically. When I am eating, I just put one plate, in front of me. She's there. This is for you. Or once in a while, I buy a gift for her, like the talisman I'm wearing now, you know. So with my grandfather, great shaman, teaches me to treat our shadow selves like really a living being. They are just invisible. They are just stuck in different. How do you say that? Different time, because when we grow, when a child grows, it's psyche, and different stages can have some personality to survive, to can invent, to survive. But when you grow, die survival patterns that doesn't serve you anymore. So you have to be conscious of that. Otherwise, all your choices in life would be guided by these shadows. And
And
some
so,
destructive, like,
so
go on, sorry.
what do you see the shadow as? I mean, because obviously, in my line of work, we work with the shadow as in psychotherapy, and we're working with a sort of like a side of ourselves that's partly disowned, partly not known, partly will trip us up
Ah,
and do all sorts of things. It sounds like you've got something that's very ritualistic around your shadow work as well.
yeah,
So
exactly.
tell us a bit more about that.
Um, the interesting things is um, you experience the story of your shadow, because shadow has always shadow says self, sorry, shadow has a different view than the conscious mind, have a completely a different goal from the conscious mind. So he said, I know my shadow, I know my childhood, but this is a grown-up mind is talking about a little girl or little boy. So in my technique, with the singing, with the with the sacred chant, you grow a person now travel in the world, in the story of your shadow. You encounter your shadow, especially if it's let's say it's a specific events that happen, trauma that happen. You still hostage of that trauma. You travel with the point of view of your shadow.
Yes.
The shadow shows you the story, and it's not something that you imagine. You see it, like you and I now talking. You see it exactly. So, this is the technique. You travel in the soul world that opens your shadow story. As go on, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, you described yourself before as a soul hacker and that you do
Yeah.
soul archaeology. And perhaps you could tell us a bit about that. What does that actually mean?
Soul hacker, as you know, the meaning hacker that I enter in the information, online or I steal it. Hacker, I steal your information. But in Soul Hacker, I don't steal information from shadow, from the story of the shadow or of the soul. Together, me, the soul, and the shadow, we work united in like an orchestra. Each instrument. We work together to change that story, to transform, not even change, to transform that story, to heal that story. Because if the original story of the shadow self is a trauma, let's say an event traumatic, traveling in her story as a soul hacker, the shadow self show you her point of view, her trauma, and she will tell you what you need, what she wants to be healed. That's why we work together. And sometimes it's really amazing how this works actually. Otherwise, I won't be here telling you this. I wish
Yes.
I wish my students were here now, like testimony, and they are all doctors and psychologists. So yeah.
And how do you see this in relation to the world, the events that go on in the world? How do you see the shadow having its place in these very difficult times we live in, for example?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Collective unconscious is a shadow. It's a battle of shadows. When I say battles, I mean really, I think the whole world should work with their own shadow. Everybody, each one of us should work with her or his own shadow. The world would be a better place. Because I would know why you triggered me, why you know, why I'm acting like this, why. So what I feel, I always say to myself, I can't change the world. Nobody has never have that power, because that would be really an ego. Because the unconscious, collective unconscious shadow is too strong. But what I do, I have my small circle, and I bless my food. Every time I eat, I am conscious of the miracle of life, the beauty of life, and yeah. So I live, you know, to yeah,
Mm.
to have my legacy here.
So you are creating your legacy. How do you see the rest of your life unfolding? What do you see as your vision or your task for the rest of your life?
My vision is to live in the countryside, in a small, with a small land, have my garden and writing, because I'm a writer, I'm author as well. Have my circle of students. Yeah, that's why when you work with a solo hacker, you also learn the essential. You know what is essential for your life. Not all these, like I used to live, five stars hotels, drivers, all these things. Slowly, slowly you say, okay, mm, I'm not going to take all this with me. The only thing I will leave here is my legacy. And this remind me of what my grandfather told me when I was 6. I couldn't understand at that time. He said, Aminata, there is mortal people and there is immortal people. Mortal people, when they die, after a while, people forget them. Immortal people is the actions of whom generations has been inspired or changed, etc., etc. That's why I always say I'm here to gain my immortality.
And
I speak better Italian, I must say. I speak really, really much, much better in Italian, so my English sometimes it gets broken.
I know I think your English is good, and
Thank you.
I'm interested in this concept of immortality that of course most of us or many of us who are on a spiritual journey believe that there is an immortality about our soul. Our soul goes on forever, has been here forever, will stay here forever. And then there was a movement in the late 20th century where people felt that they could have their whole body be immortal and they could carry on in the same body. And of course, you probably don't believe that. But there is something about immortality that you've talked about, and I wonder if you could say a bit more about your thoughts around that.
Immortality, I will try to say it first in Italian so I can maybe translate
Sure.
it in English. Uh, Ci sono persone mortali e persone immortali. Le persone mortali, quando muoiono, dopo un po' la gente se li dimentica. Le persone immortali sono le cui azioni hanno ispirato i posteri, hanno ispirato le generazioni. So I don't know how to explain this in English, but the concept is there is immortal people, there's immortal people. When the immortal people died, after a while, people forget them. How many people we have forgot? Okay, immortal people, for example, historical figures. Some of them are immortal. Okay, like a Buddha. Buddha is immortal in somehow, same like a Christ and some saints, etc., etc. So, yeah, this is a meaning of not the meaning. This is the what I carry in my body, in my bones every day, every day. Although sometimes it's hard. Life is hard. I'm not saying, yeah, it's hard. Sometimes I just want to give up, just want to, but I recognize going back again to the shadow. I recognize whose shadow is speaking and why she's speaking that way. You
Yes.
know, she's speaking that way because anything I was doing, spiritual, peace, immortality, for her is a danger. For her point of view, that means danger. That threat, yeah, in her. I don't know how you say. So she backlash me. So in the past, I used to let her just overwhelmed me, destroying everybody, destroying all the relations, destroying this, making decisions, that would always harm me, later. Now I know. I pause. I say, okay, I know why you are scared. You are scared to be seen. Of course, you are scared to be seen. For your story, being seen, that means death. That means danger.
Mm.
So, okay, let's go. What do you want me to buy for you today? Eh? You would like to, ice cream, some, because I really treat her like my best friend, or, I just don't concept. It's not a concept in Ning shadow selves. Treat her, and you know what? I feel better. I start being more creative, more energetic, more. We work together. We are a
And
team.
it goes opposite to the Jungian concept of shadow, which is what most of Western psychology is based on, which is the shadow is a disowned part of ourselves. And what I'm hearing is that you have a very much an owned part of yourself in your shadow. It's not so hidden or hiding away from the world.
Can you say that again, please?
Yeah, so the shadow is in the Western concept is very much a hidden part of ourselves.
Yeah,
It'll sabotage us. It'll cause us all sorts of difficulties
exactly.
as we go through our lives. But what I'm hearing from you is that you're embracing and dancing with your own shadow,
Yes,
and
but you
that
have
brings
to
you
know
great
her
joy.
first. You have to know her first.
Yes, exactly.
First is a hidden part that's still there in the dark hallway of the unconscious and sabotaging you, okay? Sabotaging you, all your
Yeah,
choices,
yeah,
relationship, etc. But if you know her, because in my case, okay, I know her, or it's better to say I know them, because
yes,
we don't have only one shadow. We have different shadows, different, you know, shadow selves, different psyches, you know. So, yeah, first it's hitting. What I know, I don't treat her, oh my God, who are you? What do you want? Leave me alone. Or I just meditate to pull you away or to heal you or to fix you. Shadow doesn't want to be fixed because he fixed something wrong.
Mm. What does it want?
Good question. The shadow want to be seen, want to be heard, want to be heard. The story, all she's been through, she want or he want that to be heard. It's
Mm.
very, it's very tribal if you think about it. Because in the ancient time, when a member of a tribe is struggling, there's a ritual, where everybody hear what he's going through.
Yes,
The
yes,
shadow is very ancient. It's much ancient than the mind. So he want rituals. She or he want rituals. Want to be seen. Want to be recognized. Doesn't want to be called shadow. Who want to be called shadow? I don't want to be called shadow. I want to be called Aminata.
and we
So
often associate shadow with evil, with bad, dark,
exactly.
and actually, what I'm hearing is that that's not how you see it either.
Yeah, you give a name. When I say I know you, I don't say I know you. I say, hey Tina, I know is you. Or Amirut, I know is you. You know. And I used to fight them. I used to hate them when I didn't know their existence, of course. You
Yes,
know. And yeah, yeah. When I say the ancient shadow self is much, much, much more ancient than the mind, because they came from our ancestors. They repeat what our ancestors couldn't say.
yes,
They repeat. So the shadow selves, so you see, you can't just shut the mouth of this energy, this person. You have to really befriend her, invite her, so she can speak more, tell you her story.
Yes.
And from that, you can have dreams, intuitions, and yeah. And also with different sessions, because I do session with my drum, with my sacred drum, and each session is open, for example, by the five elements. Water session shows the person what is blocking him or her. So in that case, the shadow which is blocking would show herself, and so on. I don't want to tell you all but my favorite element is the fire element, fire meditation element. Why? Because it shows the transgenerational repetitions.
Yes.
Or the shadow connected to your ancestors who is really repeating, creating karma. That's what for me is really crucial. Sometimes I say, why I should have known this many years ago. I wouldn't marry my ex. I wouldn't marry my ex-husband.
We all have to go through those paths where we learn through well, not
I
necessarily
know.
mistakes.
I know that shadow, that was mad in love my ex-husband. When I think of her, I said, "Oh my God, you were really blind," but I know why.
We're coming towards the end of our exploration together, and the question I always ask at the end is what's the particular dragon you've had to slay in your life? What's the hurdle you've had to overcome to be who you are now?
I must say, I, I'm thinking there's two things that come in my mind. I think the harder when I lost my voice, because everything for me, you know,
Particularly because you identified as a singer, so that's it's almost like you lost your identity in some ways when you lost your
that
voice.
exactly, that part of me needed to be seen, but saying to fill a hollow, a deep hollow.
Yes, yes.
So when I lost my voice, for me was, like, I wanted to jump from the last floor. I wanted to, I said, for me, life doesn't have a sense anymore. And and ready to jump from the fifth floor, a white feather entered my window.
Mm.
I pick it up with tears, or on my knees. I pick it up, and in the mind, how do I say that in English? Ayoki de la mente, in the eye of my mind, I saw the white feather that my grandfather was using, that shaman, to heal people.
So effectively, you were being watched over from the beyond.
Exactly, exactly. But at that time, I didn't care about this kind of being watched. I want success. I want to be seen. I want, this, that. Because as you said, I identify myself, with all these things to feel a hollow of loneliness,
Mm. So
of
it feels
loneliness.
like I'm reminded when I'm speaking with you of Rabindranath Tagore's statement. I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I woke and found that life was service, and I acted, and behold, service was joy. And I think what I'm hearing is your journey has opened you into a place of serving, of doing what you can to ease the load of humanity in your own way, and that actually there is a joy in that that goes beyond the individual joy of being a singer with a well-known band,
Exactly.
and actually something has changed.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
thank you very much for being with us today and giving us your wisdom. And
Thank
yes, we'll be in touch. Thank you.
thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao. Ciao, 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 ciao.